All right. So, sir, since you are here with us and with your rich experience in administration, as well as you serving on the AICTE committees, as well as in the MHCET admission process, we would like to ask you a few questions for helping students who are considering, taking admissions into engineering. Right. So, first question, sir, what crucial factors should students evaluate before choosing any engineering or STEM course?
So, in order to choose a STEM course, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it is essential that the student's interest and his passion to be understood by the students. That is, he has to have a self-evaluation. म्हणजे तो मुलगा स्वतःच एबिलिटी काय आहे आणि त्याचं इंटरेस्ट कुठल्या फील्डमध्ये पर्टिक्युलरली आहे, ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टीकडे त्यांनी लक्ष देणं खूप आवश्यक आहे सुरुवातीला.
बरोबर.
कारण काय तो खूप मॅटर करतो. युजली होतं काय, पेरेंट्स काहीतरी इन्सिस्ट करतात की आपल्याला ह्या कॉलेजला जायचंय किंवा आपल्याला हाच ब्रँच घ्यायचा आहे किंवा आपल्याला इंजिनिअरिंगच करायचं आहे. पेरेंट्सच्या प्रेशर मध्ये न येता मुलगा स्वतः जर स्वतःच सेल्फ अनालिसिस केला आणि स्वतःचे काय इंटरेस्ट आहेत, स्वतःचे काय एबिलिटीज आहेत, काय क्वालिटीज आहेत, ह्याकडे जर लक्ष देऊन त्यांनी पाहिले तर आपला कुठल्या फील्डमध्ये जायला पाहिजे आपले ठरवता येईल त्याला. हा एक विषय येतो. आणि दुसरं की करिअर पाथ कशा पद्धतीचा आहे, जॉब ऑपॉर्च्युनिटीज कशामध्ये आहेत आणि रिसर्च ऑपॉर्च्युनिटीज कशामध्ये आहेत, हा पण त्यांनी समजून घ्यायला पाहिजे. आणि नेक्स्ट टू दॅट, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द करिअर पाथ, विद्यार्थी सर्वे करायला पाहिजे की कुठले स्पेशलायझेशन आहेत पर्टिक्युलर इंजिनिअरिंग कोर्सेस मध्ये, कोणते स्पेशलायझेशनला जॉब ऑपॉर्च्युनिटीज चांगले आहेत, त्या जे कुठल्या स्पेशलायझेशन आहेत त्याची कॅपेबिलिटी त्या विद्यार्थीकडे आहे का अचीव्ह करायचा, त्याच्याकडे तो फंडामेंटल नॉलेज आहे का, ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी त्यांनी सेल्फ अनालिसिस करणं गरजेचं आहे. आणि ती सगळे स्पेशलायझेशन आयडेंटिफाय करावं लागतं त्यांना की त्याचं करिक्युलम काय आहे, त्याचं सिलेबस काय आहे, ती सुद्धा त्यांनी स्टडी करायला हवं. कारण काही करिक्युलम असा असतात, एक साधारण उदाहरण देतो तुम्हाला मी, काही विद्यार्थी मॅथमॅटिक्स मध्ये पुअर असतात पण त्यांना इंजिनिअरिंग मध्ये जायचं इच्छा असते. मग त्यावेळेस त्यांनी कुठलं पर्टिक्युलर फील्ड निवडायला पाहिजे, कोणतं कोर्स चॉईस करायला पाहिजे जिथे की मॅथमॅटिक्स वर कमी कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन आहे आणि बाकीच्या गोष्टीवर जास्त आहे. सच इंजिनिअरिंग म्हणलं तर इट इज फंडामेंटल इन मॅथमॅटिक्स. सो वन हॅज टू learn mathematics in depth as an engineering is concerned.
Yes.
So based on that, they are supposed to choose a particular course and then decide what has to be done. And another thing, while choosing the universities and the college, they need to streamline their thinking, their abilities with the institute and the branches they are going to choose. So there is a lot confusion between choosing the branch and the choosing the institutions, right? So what has to be given the first priority? कुठल्या कशाला आपण पहिलं प्रायोरिटी द्यायला पाहिजे, ब्रँचला द्यायला पाहिजे का कॉलेजला द्यायला पाहिजे? जर तुम्ही एखाद्या स्पेसिफिक ब्रँचला पॅसिनेट आहात, म्हणजे जास्त आवड आहे तुम्हाला त्या पर्टिक्युलर ब्रँचच्या संबंधित, आणि त्या केसमध्ये तुम्हाला असे इन्स्टिट्यूट्स शोधावं लागतील की जिथं ती फॅसिलिटीज आहेत, जिथं ती रिसर्च लॅब आहेत ज्याच्यावरती काम करू शकतात, रादर दॅन त्या कॉलेजचं रेप्युटेशन बघण्याच्या ऐवजी त्या गोष्टी त्यांनी पाहायला पाहिजे. देन चूज द ब्रांच अँड देन गो फॉर द कॉलेज. ओके, कॉलेज इज इक्वली इम्पॉर्टंट. आणि ज्या लोकांना करिअर जॉबचं इम्पॉर्टन्स आहे, दे आर नॉट बॉदर्ड ऑफ द स्पेसिफिक ब्रांच, then they can go for the choice of the institutes. So when they are choosing the institute, they should look at the institute, whether the institute is accredited by some particular bodies, like National Board of Accreditation is there, then NIRF is there, then NAC is there, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. Right. So one has to identify what is the ranking of the institute, one has to see whether it has been properly accredited by the particular bodies of Indian government. And apart from that, they should see that the academics of that particular institute, how academics are there, how the faculties are there, whether the qualified faculties are available or not, sufficient faculties. It is being most of the time observed that in most of the institutes, because the management is unable to make the payments, they run the institutes on a lesser number of faculties. So that also is an important thing which one has to notice. And they don't opt for a highly qualified teachers in their institute. So that has to be taken care of. And most important part, at par with all these things, is the placement. So that is the key aspect of choosing a particular career by the candidate, right? So he has to see whether how placement is being done, what is the percentage of placement, what are the different top companies which come on campus and then select the students in that particular college, what is the pay scales they are going to provide them. All these things are the parameters which they need to take care of, and then they are supposed to choose a particular college and the particular universities. So these are some of the aspects which before choosing a particular engineering course or a college, the student has to choose.
Thank you so much, sir. Very comprehensive information that you have given. And यातल्या बऱ्याचशा गोष्टी एक्सटर्नल आहेत, म्हणजे कॉलेजचं इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर कसं आहे, रिसर्च लॅब्स किती आहेत, तुम्ही म्हटल्याप्रमाणे त्यांचं रँकिंग काय आहे, NAAC प्रमाणे अक्रेडिटेशन काय आहे, ही इन्फॉर्मेशन मिळू शकते थोडासा प्रयत्न केला तर. पण मला असं वाटतं की सर स्वतःला ओळखणे, जे तुम्ही सगळ्यात सुरुवातीला म्हणाल की व्हॉट आर युअर स्ट्रेंथ्स, व्हॉट आर युअर पॅशन्स, किंवा तुम्हाला काय करायला खरंच आवडतंय. कारण उगाच पेरेंट्स म्हणतात म्हणून किंवा कोणीतरी मित्रमंडळींनी घेतली इंजिनिअरिंगला ऍडमिशन म्हणून आपणही घ्यावी का, असं जे होतं. त्यापेक्षा तुमचा जो पहिला ऍडवाइस आहे तो मला ऑडियन्सला सांगायला आवडेल की प्लीज स्पेंड सम टाइम, थोडासा स्वतःवरती वेळ घालून अंडरस्टँड व्हॉट युअर स्ट्रेंथ्स आर, अंडरस्टँड व्हॉट युअर विकनेसेस आर, understand what opportunities you have based on your strengths, right? And then you choose an engineering branch or a college. And the other thing that you said is की हा एक कन्व्हेन्शनल ऍडवाइस तर दिला जातोच की तुमचं मॅथमॅटिक्स जर का चांगलं नसेल, यू आर नॉट ग्रेट एट मॅथमॅटिक्स, then engineering may not be for you. But I'm sure, sir, you might have seen so many children who have kind of rediscovered themselves or actually performed very well in engineering, even though they might not have great marks in mathematics.
If you take a computer branch itself, for learning a computer, okay, mathematics is required being an engineering. But if you take a computer branch itself, for learning a computer, okay, mathematics is required being an engineering. But not that depth knowledge of mathematics is required for a computer branch as such.
So there are opportunities for everybody. You need to understand yourself. You need to take efforts to improve some of the limitations that you might have. So it is possible to have a very successful engineering career in education as well as beyond that, if you kind of pay a little bit attention to yourself. So great, sir. Thank you. So, sir, in your 36 years of career, you might have seen so many students who became super successful, some who became very successful, not extraordinary, and some who could not really achieve their potential. So what do you think the difference is, sir? Are there some habits or are there some kind of qualities that these students have that have become very successful?
Certain qualities which the student has to opt for. One of the fundamental aspect is time management in the career. So they are supposed to properly utilize the time. They are supposed to assign a particular time period for a particular task to be done. And what are the tasks they are going to do, they are supposed to do in that stipulated time period only. So that time management is very important in a career. Secondly, apart from time management, if you look at you are supposed to prepare a timetable. You are supposed to what I mean to say is schedule. You are supposed to schedule the things which you want to execute. Okay, proper scheduling has to be done, and accordingly you are supposed to execute yourself. Student most of the time are getting educated concentrating on the grades. So their total concentration will be scoring how much I am supposed to score compared with other students, and I always passionate to score a high grade.
Yeah.
So rather than concentrating on the grade, if they concentrate on the fundamental aspect and if they learn what they are interested to learn, not keeping in mind the grades. Okay, it is not always true that those who have scored high grade are successful in their life. What you said, no, that there are few are very successful, we are very less. It has been, I have observed in my throughout service that most of the weak students also now on the top job of their career. So that is because of their interest, because of their dedication, because of their hard work they have taken care of. And they had concentrated more on the task what they are going to do rather than the results of that. That is very important. If your fundamental concepts are very clear and if you are concentrating on a task which you are interested to do, it is naturally going to give a good results for you, right? So don't always concentrate on the grades. So look, some of the students, what they do is they try to manipulate themselves to go for a higher grades. Okay, that is not, it's not wrong that they should not score. They should score, there is no doubt. But their main motto should be this.
Right.
Okay. So the outcome of that will be anyhow results. They are going to get the grades, there is no doubt. Even if they don't get a good grade, but if what the work they are doing, the hard work they are doing, and if that is going to give an output result, that is sufficient.
Absolutely. So, sir, in other words, so grades is not the only measure of success. And what you are actually recommending is that focusing on fundamentals. Actually learning the engineering can actually guarantee you more success than just grades. Right. So, us, including me, were behind grades for the first initial few semesters, and then we realized that if you are not able to understand the concept that you are going to implement in the industry, then what's the use of getting those grades? So you also covered my next question, which was going to be what are some of the common mistakes that people do. So one common mistake definitely is going behind grades more than concepts, and second one that you also kind of mentioned is not focusing, not planning or not having a schedule, right? Not organizing yourself, just going with the flow. Right. So any other common mistakes that come to your mind that children do?
Students don't concentrate on practical aspect. That is one thing which we have noticed. So they are always classroom teaching. So basically they need to go for a practical aspects. They should, as such, if you take engineering curriculum, 60 to 70% of their curriculum has to be concentration on the practicals rather than the theoretical aspects. The students lack. They don't prefer going for the practicals. They don't prefer going for the projects. So because of that only, NEP 2020 curriculum has been introduced, wherein every semester they are supposed to go for a project. Every semester they are supposed to go for certain training. So that has been insisted. So at least this way or that way the student has to do it. And most of the students, what they try to do is, like they go, they say they are going for internship, they just bring the certificate from the market. That is useless, I tell you. And most of the students, they do the projects with the consultancy. They get the project done from the consultancy and then submit it. So these things are to be taken care by the institutes. Institutes should see such that the student has to do the project in the campus, in the laboratory. They are supposed to be monitored. So if the institute doesn't monitor, the students will go the other way. So there the student fails. The student. So because of that, what happens? He will not be exposed with the technology. He will not be exposed with the evolving technologies. And when he comes out of the engineering graduation, he is not a finished product. And the industry will not accept that. So this they have to do so that they get a good career opportunity in their life.
Great point, sir. So I think 3 points that you mentioned in this section stayed with me. Number one is focusing on fundamentals. Second is organizing yourself, creating a schedule, having that discipline. And third, but most important, I think, is gaining that practical knowledge. And now the curriculum itself, NEP itself, is kind of encouraging you, pushing you in fact. So, but there's a tendency to kind of find these
ways out of it.
Ways out of it. which, like you mentioned, if students themselves can have that kind of a passion and discipline to kind of not do these other things and just focus on the practical aspects, will be so much better. And even for the institutes, like you mentioned, institutes need to monitor
Take
this,
care of that. Yeah.
because in long term it is going to affect the institute's reputation also, isn't it? Right. So thank you, sir. Sir, one last question in this section that I would like to ask you is about the emerging fields. So the world is changing. I mean, almost every year we are seeing so many huge disruptions. The latest disruptions are happening because of AI and ML and robotics. So what are some of the emerging skills that you think students today should kind of learn beyond their engineering or while doing their engineering to succeed?
There are two aspects of this. One is the technical, other one is non-technical.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as non-technical is concerned, if you want to succeed in your life and go with a good career, apart from technical knowledge, you need to have a good soft skills.
Yeah.
That is, you need to have a communication skill. Then you need to have interaction in a group, how to manage yourself in a particular administrative post later on. So soft skill is one of the aspects which is very important. Secondly, aptitude. One should have a good aptitude. Okay. These are two things which they need to learn apart from the technical knowledge. And as far as the technical knowledge is concerned, we know that the emerging field today are computer science engineering. We have artificial intelligence and machine learning. We have robotics. And then we have biotechnology. Then we have data science. We have big data.
Correct.
There are so many emerging branches which have come in. Even petrochemicals is one of the good branches. Okay. People don't prefer it, but it's one of the good branches, and I have a good opportunity in that.
Okay.
Yeah. So students should go for such type of branches. It normally happens that most of the student doesn't show their interest in certain branches, though there is a good opportunity of their career. But it's anyhow, their passion and interest makes them to do it. But you need to go for soft skills, and you need to go for even software engineers are required today. And it has been in most of the time that there is a fear that if AI has been introduced, there is a loss of job opportunity in future. That is totally wrong, basically. Yeah. It is not that because of AI, the jobs will be lost. Rather, the number of jobs will increase. Only thing is, the people has to opt for the new technology. They are supposed to opt for the new skills. They should learn the new skills according to the requirement of that. So as far as today's data, if you consider 2025, nearly 50 million people have lost the job because of this AI. But just because of the AI, nearly 130 million people have got the job, new opportunities. Those who have this skill. Okay, the people who have lost doesn't have the skills. Okay, but now the number of people who are getting the job opportunity is higher as far as the AI is concerned. So I think as the technology is evolving, there is no fear of the job as such. Rather, there are good opportunities, more particularly in the artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, and biotechnology. Biotechnology is one of the health care field. So where again all these things are involved. AI, ML, data science, everything is involved in that.
Yeah, excellent. So that's a great positive note that you shared with us, sir. That it is not that because of AI you will lose your job, and you don't have to be really worried as long as you upskill yourself or you keep yourself updated and use AI to your advantage, isn't it, sir? So great, sir. So I wanted to, while you were talking about all these various emerging branches, I was wondering what happens to the evergreen branches, the mechanical engineers or the civil engineering branch. Do you still think those have any attraction at all? How should the engineering students who are looking at some of these branches think
Say if you take AI, if you want to implement practically, what is that you require? You require a hardware, ultimately, right? Software skills are required, no doubt. But at par with that, you need a hardware requirement also. And in that hardware, you have electronic components, you have mechanical components. Right? Who is going to design them? The core branches. electronics, the core branch mechanical.
Yeah.
So those engineers also required there. It is not that they don't get the opportunity. Only thing is what has happened is the number of engineers who have come out of, because these were the only branches earlier present, isn't it? So the number of engineers of these branches are higher in number, and that is the reason there is bit saturation today. But it is a cycle in future that you may have more demand for these core branches, like mechanical, civil, and electronics and telecommunication. There will be more in demand. Even within few years, you will notice that electronics and telecommunication will have more demand than the rest of the branches. Because IoT, if you take an IoT, again there you basically require electronics, isn't it? Yeah. So IoT is one of the emerging field. Even for robotics, it's now called mechatronics. Mechatronics, they're mechanical as well as electronics. Correct.
Absolutely. So I think all these engineering branches are in some ways converging. There is a cross-functional demand nowadays.
Interdisciplinary, what we mean to say, there is more demand for the interdisciplinary.
Absolutely. So great, sir. Thank you so much for this advice for our students. So we'll kind of wrap up this section over here, but we are coming to a very interesting next section and very relevant today for children who are aspiring to get admissions. So we'll talk about the admission process with your rich experience. That will be after the quick break. Sure. Thank you.